Or what did you do? Because you're such a respectful leader when it comes to that.
So if I hire somebody that's good, I shouldn't actually have to micromanage them. Mm-hmm. What I have to do is I have to make sure they have the resources they need to be successful. So I have to make sure they have what they need, and then I just need to get out of their way. So we had a bunch of things to ensure people's success. Mm-hmm. There's not a single phenotype I ever looked for. What I did look for is people who are interested in having an impact larger than one.
Welcome back to the DIEP End podcast, where we sit down with leaders who have shaped the past, present, and future of plastic and reconstructive surgery. Today, we are truly honored to be joined by Paul Cederna, former chief of plastic surgery at the University of Michigan, president of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons, and one of the most influential figures in academic plastic surgery. Dr. Cederna is nationally recognized for building a powerhouse academic division, securing extensive NIH funding, and mentoring generations of plastic surgeons who have gone on to become leaders in their own right. Beyond the operating room and in his lab, he is also an avid skier and tennis player, bringing the same discipline and passion to life outside of surgery that he brings to his career. In this episode, we talk leadership, academic vision, research funding, mentorship, and the lessons learned from decades at the highest level of our field. This is a must-listen conversation for trainees and seasoned surgeons alike. Let's get started. Welcome to an episode of the DIEP End, and more importantly, welcome to the University of Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a super great visit. I am sitting here now in the top of some gorgeous building, the Perlman building, apparently overlooking University of Pennsylvania, the water, on a beautiful early winter day. So thanks.
Is this what you imagine Philly to be like? Isn't it pretty?
Exactly like it. It's gorgeous, actually. Yeah, so nice.
So I want to start off by saying that I can't believe you played Andre Agassi in tennis. Is that okay to say that to other people?
You could say whatever you want.
Yeah. So tell us about, like, at the time, how it felt to play him.
No, so I played a lot of tennis over a lot of years, and I played a lot of people over the years. And what happened along the way is you had lots of opportunities to encounter lots of different people. And many of them were in different stages of their careers. And I had always thought that I wanted to be a tennis player and play at the highest level. But after a while, it became a realization to me that probably my career was not in tennis. And so fortunately, I had an opportunity for medical school, so that was good.
That's awesome. One of the things that the whole impetus behind this podcast is that I feel like we were having so many conversations with visiting professors and just with other faculty members in general that were never recorded, obviously, but were so meaningful and impactful. And you go to some of these meetings and kind of the same talks happen year after year after year. Tell us about amputee care. Tell us about lower extremity reconstruction. But you don't get to talk about leaders in plastic surgery, their lives, what got them to this point, to kind of inspire others. And you have such an unbelievable, unique story and have been leading several of our organizations within our society. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you for all that you've done for plastic surgery in general and for inspiring so many people, including myself. But what even got you to medicine and plastic surgery? If you had to rewind many years, what even got you to that point?
Yeah, so, I think we all have our own journeys, which are the things that make us who we are today. And so for me, I had played a lot of sports and had a lot of injuries. And the orthopedic surgeons were always the people who were rebuilding me after my injuries. And so I always wanted to be...
ACL tears, things like that?
I had a tib fib when I was in high school. I've had a couple of ACLs repaired over the years. I've had a distal radius fracture, lots of different things. But I will tell you that along the way, I wanted to do orthopedic surgery until I was a medical student. I did my rotation as a medical student, and it was not at all what I had expected it to be. Yeah. And then my next rotation after that was plastic surgery, and it was incredible. I was working with this incredible group of surgeons who were doing this huge array of things, and I thought, oh my God, what a great job that would be. So I decided plastic surgery at that point as a third-year medical student. I was at the University of Michigan, and I had rotated with these amazing people, Dr. Newman, Dr. O'Neill, Dr. Eisenberg, and they were all doing this incredible work, and it was such an amazing experience to change my life, and I'm immediately at that point decided I'm going to do plastic surgery.
Yeah. You know what I find, so how long ago was that? roughly?
Oh, God, that was when I was a third-year medical student, so 1988.
Yeah, so what I find so interesting is if you could go back into those shoes of that day, to even think that at some point you'd be chief of plastic surgery at the University of Michigan. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, you never think that far ahead, because at that point,
what were you even thinking?
The next thing you're thinking of, well, I guess I have to do general surgery training now. And I had not planned on doing general surgery training, but now it's all of a sudden I'm doing general surgery training. I'm going, okay, well, got to get in a general surgery training program. So then that was the goal. Then you're in a general surgery training program and you're like, I got to survive this. You're working super long hours and it's tough. And then the next step is, now I've got to get in a plastic surgery residency. So you keep working towards the same goal, and that goal is always changing.
Yeah.
Then you get a faculty position, but then you're in a faculty position, you're like, now I have to become a competent surgeon. I have to start building my research career. I have to start doing these things. So there's always new goals, and they're always changing. And when you reach that goal, then it's on to the next one.
Yeah. At the time, did you see yourself having such a scientific curiosity as a medical student?
So in undergrad, I was a biomedical engineer, and I started doing research in a biomedical engineering lab in physical medicine rehabilitation. And I really loved that experience. And that's when I wrote my first few papers around functional electrical stimulation to prevent pressure sores.
Oh, that's so cool.
My first few papers. But I actually loved the process. And it was fun to be doing studies, to learn things that people never knew before.
Yeah.
And to advance the field by innovating and discovering something new. And so it became really exciting to me, and because of that, I had decided I really wanted to do that.
So if you think back, I trained in the independent route, so I did full general surgery, board certified in general surgery. But if you think back to how you trained, obviously during a time when general surgery was kind of the gateway to plastic surgery, now things are sort of evolving towards more the integrated route. How do you kind of see the perfect balance looking into the future? Like, are we going in the wrong direction? You think we're going in the right direction? What would you say?
I would tell you that there are a lot of things I learned in general surgery training that made me a really good doctor. And I will tell you, in most hospitals, there are very few doctors in the hospital that are better than a chief resident in general surgery. They're just such good doctors because they've taken care of so many things. But I will tell you that our plastic surgery residents in our integrated programs, by the time they're finishing, they know so much. They know infinitely more than I knew when I was finishing plastic surgery. They've seen all the operations. They've done them all. And the complexity of the things they're doing is so high. And so I really think plastic surgery has become such a unique specialty with its own body of knowledge and its own surgical approaches that it's really tough in just 3 years to learn what you need to learn, particularly in the entire breadth of our specialty.
Yeah.
So I really do think we as a specialty are heading in the right direction. And I really do think that the 6 years people commit to training in plastic surgery is what people need to be really, really good when they're done.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it too these days, these integrated residents, especially because now they're getting much earlier exposure to plastic surgery. But I also feel like the field of plastic surgery has evolved to be almost more general than general surgery. You know, you can operate from the head to the toe, craniofacial, aesthetics, microsurgery, like hand, whatever you want. And to compact that into such a short period, especially for me, was challenging for sure. I spent most of it catching up rather than absorbing, and advancing.
I know. And by the time I was graduating from plastic surgery, I realized that the wrist was more than one bone. And I realized there's and there's a lot of tendons in that hand. There's so many, and they all have a different name.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I spent the first 4 years as a faculty member learning plastic surgery, and all my, the more senior faculty members than me, I would go into their office all the time and say, what would you do about this? What would you do about that? And then somewhere along the road, I stopped asking because I had gained enough confidence in plastic surgery that I learned, but that was multiple years of on-the-job training I was doing because the plastic surgery training was so brief and the specialty was so broad. But even today, now the specialty is so much bigger. Like lymphedema wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
All of these areas were just not even part of our specialty.
Yeah.
So I really love the opportunity for our residents to see everything and to be so knowledgeable about things by the time they're finishing.
And if you think too, like what's become part of our specialty, like what is going to become part of our specialty in the next 10 or 20 years. I mean, that's exciting. But So let's fast forward. You were at Michigan, one of the places that has such an incredible legacy in just surgical education, surgical training in general. Everyone talks about Michigan when they think of surgery. And I know this because at Hopkins, there's some sort of Michigan Hopkins overlap with Cederna. But how did you become the chief, number one? Not because overly qualified, but like, how did that process happen at the time? And then what are you most proud of from your time there? Because everyone associated Dr. Paul Cederna with University of Michigan plastic surgery, and you left such a big impression on everybody else, all the other training programs. So what are you most proud of, and how did that even happen?
Yeah, so along the way, I love operating, so I was doing a lot of surgery, and I love that. I had a busy basic science lab, and I had gotten quite a few grants and had written quite a few papers, and so that was helpful. I had also started to assume. Were you
in that process, even early on, were you starting to say, okay, you know what, I kind of want to be a leader?
I think I wanted to be a leader, but I don't think it was a deliberate decision that I am going to do X. I think it was more, I loved being in the research lab and having the opportunity to accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish. And then when I assumed a leadership role with a national society, I did it because there was something I wanted to accomplish. There was some impact I wanted to have, and big decisions are made in small rooms. So if you really want to have a positive impact in some way, you need to be in that small room. So I did it so that I could impact things in the way, like the Plastic Surgery Foundation. The research dollars that the ASPS and PSF had been giving to research had come down dramatically. And so it was really important for me to be able to move back into leadership roles in the Plastic Surgery Foundation to articulate how important research is to our specialty and how we need to keep investing in it and increase the research investments in plastic surgery. And I was able to do that. So those kinds of roles allowed me to have the impact in areas that were important to me. At Michigan, when I became chief at Michigan, that was sort of a combination of clinical care, teaching, the research I had done, and some of the other leadership roles I had. I became chief, but it was important for me because then it gave me the opportunity to put my mark on Michigan plastic surgery, which was already a really amazing place. And I felt very fortunate to be able to develop a much more diverse faculty. We had very few female faculty members, and I was able to grow that dramatically, which improves the quality of that education, the quality of clinical care, mentorship opportunities for our residents, over half of which were women. And I was able to grow that in a way that was really important to me from all the domains that are important in academic surgery. And I think that's probably the thing that I'm most proud of is we have always trained really, really talented people. But the people that are coming out now are very strong academicians. They're people who are carrying the torch, training the next generation of leaders in plastic surgery at academic places all across the country. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah. What do you think, nowadays you have a lot of surgical leaders getting advanced training, MBA, MPH. What do you think you took away the most, like one of the greatest lessons you learned about being a leader? And then do you find that some of those, you don't have an MBA, but do you find that some of those things are helpful nowadays?
Yeah, I think all of those things are probably helpful. Getting a PhD doesn't mean you'll ever be successful getting a grant, but getting a PhD teaches you a process of research. And it's a great jumpstart for people to get them going, to really understand the process and improve their chances of success. Getting an MBA gives you an immense amount of knowledge that will also help you manage people better, manage finances better, all of those things. So I think all of those are really, really helpful. And I love seeing people do that because it's really preparing them to be better leaders. For me as a leader, the most important thing is I would never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't personally do. I had the call schedule made, and I always made sure I took at least that the call schedule was even for everyone, and I took at least one more day of call a month than everyone else. Just to make sure. It wasn't that much of a burden, but just to show everyone that I am there with them.
Yeah.
And then as a
that's
leader,
so important.
Yeah, and as a leader, I'm a very collaborative leader, and so we would talk about things and we would have very strong processes to figure out how we were going to manage a certain situation. We would get feedback from everyone, and if the process was good and we heard everyone's voice, even if we came to a place that I personally wouldn't have chosen on my own, we came to the place that we as a group came to with a good process. And that was kind of my style with most things. And that style worked very well for me, sort of this servant leader style.
Yeah. I think, a lot of what you're sort of saying, and it seems almost intuitive, but you can't teach some of these things, is just being a good person, I feel like, camaraderie, looking out for those who are below you. Steve Rosenberg, when I was at the NIH for a couple of years, taught us a lot about leadership, and he said that one of the things he's always most proud of is he's the last to eat. So like if there's a function, everyone else eats first, and then he's the last to eat. But so much of what you say speaks to like just being a good person, looking out for others.
And I think like if we would be thinking about hiring a new faculty member, for instance, bringing a faculty member will impact a lot of people in your program. So what I do is I would come to the whole group and I would say, I think we maybe have a hole here. And then I would have a little bit of a business model that I would present them of what this would look like and all those sorts of things, what the investment was. And then I would give everyone a chance to give feedback about it. And we'd talk about it as a group. And then if we decided as a group we were going to hire somebody, then I would start doing the hard work of getting the ads together and getting it out and screening applications. But then I would bring people in and I would have as many people meet each of the candidates as possible. And then we'd talk about them again.
So it's a collective process.
Oh, yeah. And because socializing ideas and getting the group all on board with an idea, then, sometimes everything doesn't work out perfectly. But then if it was a group decision and everyone participated in it, then it doesn't seem like something that you told them to do, but it's something that you as a group decided to do. And then you as a group win together. And then if there's some struggles, you struggle together. But I would much, much rather have that situation. It's far more efficient to just make a decision.
Yeah.
But that's not the best way to build collaborative teams. And for me, the most important part is, having good collaborative team.
I love that. So it's kind of speaking along the same lines about collaborative teams. When you're making a decision as a leader, but you're overseeing so many faculty members, like at Penn, at Michigan, et cetera, what's your ideal faculty member? Because it almost seems like you would love to have faculty that are sort of autonomous, hardworking, put their heads down, and that you don't have to oversee. But how did you make it a point that you were still able to lead such a big group? Like, did you have periodic meetings with your faculty member just to make sure that they were progressing along with their goals? Or what did you do? Because you're such a respectful leader when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me is my goal. So if I hire somebody that's good, I shouldn't actually have to micromanage them. What I have to do is I have to make sure they have the resources they need to be successful. So I have to make sure they have what they need, and then I just need to get out of their way. So we had a bunch of things to ensure people's success. So we have launch teams.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in, we build a whole team around them, clinically, academically, leadership-wise, everything, to make sure they get a really fast start with lots of experts all around them mentoring them. We have boost teams. People recently who have been promoted are now in a different stage in their career, and they need a different group of people to help them get to the next level, whatever that is. There's not a single phenotype I ever looked for. What I did look for is people who are interested in having an impact larger than one patient at a time. In whatever that is, and everyone defines success in a different way. People have an opportunity to define success in the way they deem success, and then I give them the resources to get there. Then it's a win for everyone. So we, as an entire faculty, met monthly, but then there were a lot of other meetings. We had ad hoc meetings here and there, whatever, just check-ins. And the goal was, I never wanted somebody to become unhappy and start looking for a job because they're unhappy because we didn't appreciate them. I always wanted to make sure that everyone realized that they were appreciated and show them in ways that you can show them that they're appreciated so they don't actually have to look for a job.
Like in what ways?
So when I would meet with them, someone would say, I'm having, a lot of trouble with my research program because I don't have X and Y and Z and it's not progressing. And I said, well, let's think about how we can get you more support in that area. Mm-hmm. And so instead of somebody going off and getting a job offer somewhere and then coming back and looking for a retention package, we would just be doing these things ad hoc. Proactively as we go. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of different ways you can solve that problem. One is to hire somebody, but one is also to partner up with someone else that has somebody, or, there's a lot of opportunities to do that.
Do you ever find, or did you find that your ability to make people happy was ever limited by the fact that you were a chief and not a chair?
No. No, but I will tell you that whether you're in the Department of Surgery or you're a standalone department yourself, it really depends who your department chair is. Mm-hmm. And if you have a really supportive department chair, that can be an incredible experience for you. For instance, during the pandemic, we in plastic surgery were hardly working. General surgery and the intensivists were working a ton. We were losing money. The Department of Surgery gave us a huge chunk of money just to defer all our expenses because we weren't generating revenue. Mm-hmm. But they knew we weren't generating revenue. But because we were in the department, this huge chunk of money just came.
Yep, that makes sense.
We had highly valuable people. And one of the things you can do is you can give them professorships, which give them a little bit of money in a discretionary account to do professorial-like things. We would have people doing amazing things. The Department of Surgery would have an opportunity for a professorship. They would give it to us, and then we could endow a professorship for one of our faculty members. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So I will tell you, Justin Dimmick is our chair of surgery. Great guy, unbelievably supportive of plastic surgery. We are in a great spot being in the Department of Surgery. Mm-hmm. But if the chair is someone different, then it might be a different situation.
Gotcha. So now fast forward a little bit to almost the pinnacle of academic plastic surgery, the association, which you're president of this year. Mm-hmm. And it absolutely fantastic location, by the way. I'm looking forward to it. But
thank you.
In addition to all of your other leadership roles, PSF, now even the Alpine Workshop, which I hear unbelievable things about, and numerous others, what does this mean to you, being president of the association? What are you most looking forward to?
So I think the association was always that meeting. It's a very selective group. Mm-hmm. So people who are in that group have really accomplished great things in plastic surgery. Mm-hmm. And they've accomplished great things as clinicians, as educators, as leaders, as scientists, lots of different areas. So it's a very select group of leaders in plastic surgery. So I'm really humbled by the opportunity to serve in this capacity. I was really lucky because Bill Kuzan was one of my research mentors. Mm-hmm. And along the way, he gave me opportunities. Quite a few years ago, when he was president of the association, he made me program chair for the meeting. Yeah. And that gave me an opportunity. I had to work really hard, and I had to perform and get everything done, but it gave me big visibility in the association, and it gave me an opportunity to actually serve in this role. Mm-hmm. So now I'm excited because there are a few things that are quite different than what the association has done before. Yeah. The meeting has never been off the continental U.S. before, and it's in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited about that. Yeah. Because we're in Hawaii, we're going to have programming in the morning and in the evening, but we're going to take the afternoons off.
Oh, nice.
So people can be with their families, friends, whoever else, because we're in Hawaii. Yeah. We're going to change things up so the opening ceremony is a little bit different than usual. We're shortening it up and making it a little bit more exciting, but then we're going to have a really nice black tie awards dinner. And actually all the award recipients are going to have a chance to be able to get up and give a little speech.
Oh, that's really nice.
Because they haven't been able to do that before, and I think people are going to like that. Yeah. We're going to have a bunch of mentoring sessions, and the entire meeting is on innovation. Yeah. And promoting the field. And so I'm really excited. And this year, Joe Losi is putting together the Leadership Academy. Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is incredible. The program is intense.
Yeah.
It is going to be so busy, and it is going to be so deeply involved. And the first cohort of people coming through, many of them are already leaders in plastic surgery. So I am so excited. This is going to kick off at the association in Hawaii, and really amazing.
How do you become a part of that group? Like one of the aspiring leaders or whatever?
Yeah, so people applied.
Okay.
People applied.
There is a selection process. Gotcha.
But we have a ton of people who are already leaders, and they're just trying to refine their skills. But this program is going to be like a mini MBA. And there's going to be tons of meetings outside. They're going to meet in person 4 different times, but then there's going to be a ton of work outside of those meetings.
Yeah.
Reading of books, reading of articles, Zoom meetings, lots of assignments.
With regards to the association, like I view it totally as kind of, it doesn't get more academic than that. And it's always such a joy to hear everyone talk, the opening ceremony, everything. But thinking about this, how selective of a process it is to kind of get in, the wait period you have as an attending before you get into the association, do you see that evolving in the future, number one? And then what do you see like probably the biggest changes in the next 5 to 10 years?
There was always a mandatory wait period to get in the association. You had to be 5 years out from board certification to be eligible. We moved that to 3 years. But we've just having a bunch of discussions at the board level about actually eliminating the wait period at all, but using it as a way, if somebody is ready today, why would we not want them part of it? Why do we just have to arbitrarily wait a certain amount of time? Whenever somebody's ready, they ought to be able to
promotion.
come in. Yeah. We just assess them, and if they're ready, and if they aren't, they're not quite ready.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be moving forward for the association as well. And so I know following me, Dr. Cerletti is going to be the next chairman. He's going to be hosting it in DC. He has a lot of things to bring more youth and vigor into the meeting, which is going to be great. And I think all of these things to continually try to make small adjustments here and there and make the meeting better and better is going to only help the association.
Yeah, I think whenever something in life is based off of merit and not a timeline, it seems to be better. But it's good to have kind of the timeline in the background in case somebody isn't ready.
Sure. Sure. And it's not that different than our competency-based advancement through training. If somebody's competent and we have the right tools to measure that, then they're competent.
Yeah.
And so,
I think some fluidity going to that is beneficial. Even on the contrary, if somebody needs a little bit more time, we should have the ability to give them a little bit more time if they need it.
Yeah, agree.
Now, I told you this yesterday, but as a chief general surgery resident, I had to debate my best friend for grand rounds, and it was Bobby Beaulieu. He's the program director of vascular surgery at Michigan, and he also has his biomedical engineering degree. And so I debated the side of lower extremity reconstruction. He debated the side of amputation and prosthetics, et cetera. And at the time, we talked about the 2002 LEAP study, the New England Journal of Medicine paper, which, of course, I'm still citing that today when I talk to patients, et cetera. And that's more than 20 years ago. But we were still kind of talking about how great prosthetics are and that amputation isn't failure. You're basically giving somebody a faster recovery, potentially, quicker return to work, et cetera. What has really changed in that 20 years? Has it, do we need to do the study again? I feel like we've made advances, but what can we tell our patients?
Yeah, so I think, that is such a great question. So as I think about it, I think it's really evolved. So we always talked about limb salvage. The reality is there are a lot of limbs that we salvage that are not particularly good limbs. They may not be good functional limbs. They may give people horrible long-term chronic pain, all sorts of awful things. We should be thinking of the entire continuum of optimizing functional restoration. And optimizing functional restoration comes in lots of forms. It may be salvaging the limb, but it actually may be amputating the limb and then moving forward with advanced prosthetic interventions. We now have what we didn't really have too much of in 2002 was osseous integration. We now have osseous integration where prosthetics can be fit to a titanium, abutment sticking through the skin attached to the bone. Give people stably fixed prosthetics to their skeleton. We now have advancing prosthetic control strategies with advanced limbs that give power and motion to the prosthetic that they didn't have before. So I think plastic surgeons have gotten involved in this space now, and there have been so many incredible advancements in the management of pain, phantom limb pain, neuroma pain, and advancements in prosthetic control, and all of that because we have this group of really creative, thoughtful, innovative plastic surgeons working in this space now.
Yeah.
You know, Greg Dumanian wrote that first paper in 2002 or 2003 on TMR. What a great idea. Amazing idea. That has helped hundreds of thousands of people with pain after amputation.
Yeah.
You know, and so there are all these things. So combining, you know, implantable systems, osseous integration, advanced prosthetics is all going to then continue to add to the continuum of options we can offer our patients.
Yeah. I think, too, when I think about lower extremity reconstruction, when you're talking to patients, clearly one of their interests is saving a part of their body, right?
Yeah, of course.
But when you look at some of these reconstructions, I'm guilty of it as well, when you put a meat of a flap on it, and then the patient doesn't have full mobility, and then that patient, too, is suffering from chronic pain, is that really the end goal that you want? And then the other thing that I'll say is what Bobby presented during the grand rounds is some of the prosthetics actually look really good from an aesthetic standpoint. So once we get to this stage where like a prosthetic looks better or potentially like almost natural compared to a reconstructive leg with a bunch of scarring and meat and et cetera, I think it's going to be a very close call. And then you can eliminate pain, have sensation, temperature feeling. What are your thoughts on like the aesthetics of some of these prostheses?
Yeah, I think there's no limit to the quality of the aesthetics that you can do with the prosthetics for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first step is going to be giving people the function that they need. And ultimately, what's going to happen in that space is, you know, if somebody is an accountant, they may just have a 3D printed prosthesis that's controlled with monofilament line to the fingers and a little spinning disc like a detachable chairlift. That's controlling their fingers, and they can move real fast, and it's really light. You may have a construction worker that's got a super powerful 3-finger hand that they're using at work to weld with or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's going to have a lot of different forms, I think, going forward. But the aesthetics is obviously a really, really critical component. And in some people who are unwilling to lose a limb, then of course we do everything we can to save their limb for them and give them the best limb possible. But there are quite a few situations where those people later find out the limb they have is not particularly functional, gives them pain, and then they opt for an elective amputation.
Yeah, I know.
And sometimes some people need that to come to they just need time, and I completely get that, and that is why the informed consent process is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I really love talking to patients about is historically everyone kind of regards amputation as failure. And one of the things that I love talking to patients about is that it's not failure, it's a part of the treatment.
Yeah.
Like your treatment is reconstruction or it's amputation, but amputation shouldn't mean that you failed, the surgeon failed, or you know, anyways, I love that topic. And then you humbly give Dr. Dumanian credit for TMR, but you don't talk about what you advanced, which is RPNI. You told us all this morning a little bit about it, which is very interesting. But briefly, can you just tell the audience about how you came about it and any potential recent advances?
Yeah, sure. So thanks for that. So the regenerative peripheral nerve interface, all it is we take a nerve, we open the nerve up into its individual nerve fascicles, and we take a small skeletal muscle graft, and we put it on the end of each of those nerve fascicles. What happens then is as those nerves try to regrow, they will grow into the muscle, they will reinnervate the muscle, and they will stop growing. That will then prevent the patient from developing neuromas, reduce the chances of phantom limb pain. And then at the same time, it gives us opportunities to then take signals from that nerve, feed them to the prosthesis, and then have the prosthesis use the peripheral nerve signals for control. So it's really an exciting process. It's really not a new idea because standard skeletal muscle grafts were actually written about by John Faulkner and Bruce Carlson back in the late 80s. And they were using it for facial paralysis. They'd take a small graft, they'd just put it right in the face, they'd plug a nerve right into the side of it, it would reinnervate, it would move. But it was considered a failure because it didn't move enough, so it didn't really correct the facial paralysis like it needed to. For our purposes, we don't actually need it to move anything. We just need it to amplify the nerve signals so we can take those nerve signals, feed them to a prosthesis, and have it move.
Yeah.
So that's what's so exciting about that. And we've spent a lot of time doing a lot of research, sort of better understanding what's going on inside of those little skeletal muscle grafts and how they're amplifying the signals.
Yeah. I think it's, all of this underscores innovation in plastic surgery. I think we have such a unique and beautiful field that we're able to go outside of textbook. Like I think to my general surgery training and the way you did things was like by the textbook. You know, you take out a gallbladder the same way you take out, and if you didn't, it was probably malpractice, whereas plastic surgery, you can think of something like this. And then next thing you know, it becomes standard of care for these patients and such a quality of life improvement.
Yeah.
And then I want to hear, so you're president of your own company.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. So the company is Blue Arbor Technologies. So I never had any plan of starting a company. So we kept getting grants and kept getting grants. We implanted a bunch of people with implantable systems to control prosthetic devices. But then it was starting to become difficult to get grants to form a device that we could actually get out to more people. So it became a reality that we actually had to start a company that would actually make a commercially viable product for it to get out to hundreds of thousands of people that need it. So we started the company. Ted Kung, who is a microsurgeon from Michigan, is the CMO for the company. Alex Vaskov, who has his PhD in robotics, is the brains behind the whole thing. Alex is our CTO. And then Todd Borton is a real special guy who has been, a C-suite guy in biotech for 35 years, who has assumed the role of CEO of the company. And he's helping guide us through everything. So it has been a journey for sure. It has been so much fun. I am learning so much. But for me, more than anything, I'm so excited about creating a product that we can get to the hundreds of thousands of people that need high-end prosthetic control to give them a limb back like the one they once had. I think about, as you're talking, I think about how busy you are surgically in leadership roles, the company. I want you to talk briefly about the Africa pursuits and how your wife is still okay with what you're doing and that she hasn't killed you yet. But before that, I want you to mention about, because this is, again, you lead by example, and you're not leading to do things by the book. You're leading by doing what's good in your heart. And one of that is your pursuits in Africa. So can you talk to the audience a little bit about what you did in terms of hospital, et cetera, and taking care of those patients? Yeah, so there was a small medical clinic that got started in Uganda that was providing care to thousands of people in a small town in Uganda. And we spent a lot of time with that initiative, building new clinics, getting the volume up and everything. So that was a medical effort that was really important to help this town of people that needed so much. In Kenya, my wife had gone with Hearth to Hearth to an area in northern Kenya near Homa Bay, and there was a goal of having an orphanage for the kids that needed help, having a place for them to live, to get educated. And so in that orphanage school, there are a little over 100 orphans and somewhere in the range of about 100 other kids that go to school there from the local area. But that is also an incredible opportunity to be able to give back to people that don't have much. And so having an opportunity to do that is really special.
Yeah. Who's giving your introduction at the association?
Bill Kuzan.
Oh, okay, great. Well, during the award ceremony, you should get your wife on stage and give her an award because like everything that you have done, I'm sure I'm the same way, is like totally thanks to having great support and somebody who's like in line with you can partake in these initiatives and add their own sense to them. And it sounds like your wife is that person.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think for all of us who are really, really busy, it takes a special kind of person to support you in the way to allow you to do the things that are important to you. And to all of us, our families are important, our children are important, all of those things are important to us, but then having that additional support for sure.
Yeah. So now the last few questions, I think this one is one that I'm always extremely interested in. Looking back on your life, is there anything you deeply regret? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a regret, but is it something that, this is one of the things that I have not yet accomplished that I've always wanted to accomplish?
Yeah, I think we all have things that we wish we had an opportunity to pursue further. I mean, I had been a hockey player when I was young, and I thought I was pretty good. But somewhere along the road, my parents decided that hockey was not really the right path for me.
Yeah.
And so they sort of encouraged me out of hockey. And I look back on that, and I kind of wish I played hockey a little bit longer. But no, I mean, that's a childhood thing. As an adult, I don't really regret anything. I was making decisions with the best information I had at the time that I was making the decisions. So I don't really regret too much of anything. I'm sure there are a lot of things I could have done differently that would have been better. But overall, I mean...
I think you did okay.
I think it did fine. I mean, I don't know. I think,
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
And then last two, what OR music do you prefer? Number one. And then what's your favorite surgical instrument?
Yeah. Okay. So OR music, for years I listened to hip hop.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. And actually on Pandora, there's a station, Hip Hop Barbecue.
Love it.
Love it.
One of the best.
But years ago, I stopped listening to it in the OR because there's too many bad words and adult themes.
Yeah.
So I stopped listening to it. So now in the OR, I listen to a lot of pop punk. So like Blink-182 style stuff.
Love it.
And everybody knows all the songs.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it. It's high
Brings
energy.
back memories.
Yeah. So that's great.
And then what about surgical instrument?
Surgical instrument. So I love the tonsil. I love the tonsil. It feels really good in my hand. And then if I'm operating with someone that's a little bit younger, I can use it to sort of guide them a little bit as they're going. So I love the tonsil.
You're the first one to say that. That's awesome. I think we used to call it the Reinhoff at Hopkins, but it's a great instrument.
Yeah. But it just feels good in my hand, and that's one of the instruments when I was when I was a brand new general surgery resident that I carried around in my pocket. I had two. I had a tonsil and I had a 6-inch Webster.
Oh.
And I'd be constantly playing with them.
Yeah,
all
I play with
the
them
time.
too. Learning how to palm.
Yeah, spinning them on my fingers,
exactly.
Everything, just messing with them all the time.
You don't see people doing that these days.
Yeah, but I love feeling it. So I put that in my hand. It feels like home.
That's a good Christmas gift for you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of
pleasure.
fun. And thanks for visiting us. And I'm looking forward to Hawaii. I can't wait.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks for having me. It's been a great experience.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to The DIEP End, a plastic surgery podcast. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and leave a rating on Apple Music or Spotify. Video from the podcast is available on Instagram and YouTube at The DIEP End Podcast. Join us again soon for more conversations with luminaries and experts in the world of surgery.